Welcome to Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial, the home for financial advice in a language you can understand. Created by Marc Freedman of Freedman Financial, he and his team of certified financial planner professionals will discuss timely topics that help individuals and families make smart financial decisions. And now, get ready for this week's edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial.
Welcome back to another edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial. My name is Marc Freedman.
And I'm Marion Gilman.
And we're here to provide you with some financial advice in a language you can understand. And when we talk about financial advice, it can range anything from dollars and cents, money, investments, insurance, travel, everything.
Social Security.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And you know, that's something we probably want to talk about today because we've been getting some interesting questions about Social Security, haven't we?
Right, we certainly have, you know. For some reason, there are many individuals around who are 65 plus, eligible for Social Security, and feel they should take it right away because it might not be there.
Yeah, the government's not going to give it to me if I don't take it because they may change the program.
Yeah, or it's going to disappear because there's not going to be any money.
And when I ask, well, where are you getting this information from? And they'll say, well, they say.
Who's they? Who's they, Mark?
I don't know. Have you ever met, well, I can't go there, I guess, but I wanted to say, have you ever met anybody that's a they? But
well,
I guess now the answer is now,
exactly.
yes. But when we
but
talk about they
sense.
say, they is who?
Right.
I don't know. And, you know, more and more of our clients who are over the age of 65, 70 are very, very concerned and scared based upon some of the headlines, the news reports, the notifications they get on the phone, the solicitations they get in the mail, the phone calls that they get, scaring the daylights out of them. And what we try to do is provide some rational advice during these strange and irrational times. We call it emotional times, but it's irrationality. And
you have to take some perspective. Stand back and take a perspective on this.
Yeah. First of all, nothing happens in this world instantaneously.
Particularly not in the government.
Right. With the exception of one thing, which was a once in a millennium experience, which was COVID.
Right.
Right? When they said, well, you got to go back into your house, or
you have to.
Yeah, you have to, and that was just a nationwide thing.
Place.
But that was something that was not man-made. Well, I guess it was. It was man-made from a virus or whatever, but it was not something that was something that a group of people.
It was a life-threatening
right.
illness.
But it wasn't a situation where human beings of all different walks of life could come together, debate an issue, and come up with some decision to move forward so that everybody had to comply. That simply doesn't happen. Look, many people will blame this president for his outrageous expressions of ideas that shock the market simply because the market doesn't know how to react to his message. And, you know, like, look, we just went through this week where he said, where someone suggested that he was going to use military action to take over Greenland.
And increase tariffs on every NATO country who was opposing him.
So that's what he said he wanted to do. And how did the market react to that?
Oh, hugely negative. We had an enormous down day.
Right.
Plunged.
Well, they call it a plunge.
At
the end of the day, the market dropped 800 points, 848,000. It's not that big of a deal, but it reacted. And the market reacted negatively to the short-term perceived news. Now, the way people interpreted what Donald Trump said and what he said in full might be two different things. Because remember, no one wants to listen to a Donald Trump press conference that goes 2 hours. People want a 30-second sound bite from that.
So they pick out little pieces.
And that's what happens.
Right.
Now, yes, you can pick on our president, and I know he drives a lot of people crazy. He drives me crazy. But we live in a world that is so focused on sound bites and not focused on news. So
that is for sure.
We could have, we've had lots of erratic presidents in our past. Some very nice presidents, some crazy presidents, all different types of presidents. But none have lived through the social media world unlike President Biden and Donald Trump. Think about all the other stuff that all the other presidents could have done, could have said, could have implied. But they weren't going to make the nightly news because that's all there was nightly news.
And news didn't travel that fast.
Right.
I mean, we now get news instantaneously if we want to.
Right. And now news is no longer news.
No.
It's entertainment.
Most definitely. And any staff writer for any newspaper or any news show on TV will tell you that.
Yeah.
They need to entertain.
They want to be first.
And they need ratings, exactly.
Right. They're going to do anything it takes.
That's right.
Just take a look at the three major cable news stations, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Let's call those the three major cable news stations. You want to throw NPR in there? Go ahead. But take a look on their website or on your phone app. Take a look at what the top three stories are of the day. And you would think that if this is news about America, the top three stories would generally be the same stuff, right? But it's not.
Never.
Never the same stuff. The last time it was all the same stuff, you know when that was? It was January of 2025. And what happened? Do you remember what happened in January 2025?
No.
I was in Mexico at the time with my family on vacation.
Yeah.
And that's when they had the fires in California.
Oh, okay.
Right? Everybody covered the fires for the first day or two. And then after that, the three major news stations, major cable news stations, all decided to make this story about who's to blame. It's not about the fire reporting on the news, but who are we going to blame? And it's interesting how each industry, each media outlet chooses a different scapegoat.
Because they all have a perspective, which is really not supposed to happen with the news. The news is supposed to be unbiased reporting, but that usually doesn't happen anymore.
But the news is all about choices now.
That's right.
Think about all the places you can go to get your news.
Yeah.
In fact, I talk to Christian a lot about where does he get his news.
Christian, by the way, is 30.
Right.
31.
And Christian's been with us 9 years.
Yeah.
He's a financial advisor here at the office. And Christian admits that he doesn't look at any of the news stations. He relies on the notifications that he gets from a variety of different websites or places that he subscribes to.
Right.
So he's not watching the news. That's what we used to do. We used to watch the news. And there was something to talk about.
6 o'clock news.
Right.
Everybody turned on the 6 o'clock news back in the day.
Right. And now, and you'd get up in the morning with Chet and Natalie, right, on Channel 5. Chet and Nat. And that's what you would do, but that doesn't happen anymore.
No.
The world is different. So back to where we started here, which was the whole Social Security thing. This is what is scaring a lot of people.
Well, remember, Social Security's demise creates headlines.
Right.
That statement would create headlines, and that's what the news.
Look, I'll make a statement about Social Security. They'll scare the daylights out of you. When Social Security started in 1935, the average life expectancy was 65 years old.
That's right.
And there were 40 people paying into Social Security for every one person who was taking it out. That's a sustainable system as far as I'm concerned.
Life has changed.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, exactly. Because you couldn't collect until you were 65.
Right? And how many people in 1935 were living beyond age 65? There were some, don't get me wrong. Many lived till 80 or 90, but not the kind of population that is living beyond. So if full retirement age back in 1935 was 65, shouldn't full retirement age, if you think about the way healthcare has grown and inflation, all the different types of things, should it be 67? Now is full retirement age?
Probably not.
But it is, and everybody wants to complain if you're going to move it forward. So now it's 67, this full retirement age. And today, because the baby boomers represent one of the largest populations in America and the greatest collectors of Social Security.
And the highest level of voters,
right.
Percentage of voters, I should say.
There are 2 people now paying into Social Security for every one person collecting.
That's right.
That is not a sustainable system, is it?
Absolutely.
But is it sustainable for the people that are collecting now? Yeah, sure it is. Is it sustainable for a 30-year-old? For Christian? No. It has to change. So there's a number of ways in which Social Security can change. And many people know it.
Right. And so remember, there was a change that came into effect, and that was raising the age with full retirement age from 65 to 67.
And that just happened last year, right, Marion?
So it took 40 years, 40 years, in order for that to take full effect, because it took a while before it actually even started to come into effect, and then it took years to actually make the change, because it was a succession of 65, 65 in 2 months, 65 in 4. It was 40 years to make that full jump from age 65 to 67. Can you imagine how long it will take them to move from 67 to
69 or 70?
Else?
I mean,
right.
It's
not happening in your lifetime.
Right.
If
Even
you're
if it
65.
Even if it is 40 years, you'll be dead. It's not your problem, though, because the older population spends more time than anybody else, watching news headlines and sitting around the coffee shop talking about what they heard on the news, or it scares everybody.
And there's something to talk about.
Look, Social Security can be fixed in a number of different ways.
Right.
It's already been decided, all the various ways in which it can be decided.
But nobody wants to vote that in.
That's right, because which politician is going to be the guy that, just as much as they're as good intent as they are, who wants to be the person with the stigma? Because remember, this is social media sound bites. So-and-so wants to change Social Security. Now, it doesn't say when, doesn't say how, doesn't say all sorts of stuff, but just that line. So-and-so is taking a platform that we need to change Social Security. Or so-and-so wants to abolish Social Security. Maybe abolish it the way it is right now, knowing that it's not going to go into effect for 40 years.
Right.
It's all a matter of interpretation from headlines.
And, even what the proposals have nothing to do with saying, okay, we're going to do away with Social Security. And particularly not for anybody in their 60s, actually in their 60s. That would be egregious, and nobody would vote that in. No politician would vote that in. However, there could be some minor changes. Most of it has to do with increasing the income that's going to be taxed for those people who are working. That's, I think, one of the primary proposals. It has nothing to do with those people who are collecting.
No, and one of the things that isn't being talked about enough is the number of people who are ignoring the fact that this year, when they do their taxes, they're probably going to pay less in taxes because of the big, beautiful bill that went into effect.
Right.
That is going to make the vast majority of people who collect Social Security find their Social Security income relatively tax-free.
Because there's an additional, for many people, if you meet certain criteria, an additional $6,000
per person
deduction if you are in that age bracket.
The age bracket, right? You have to be over age 65 and within an income, under an income bracket.
Correct.
Now, many of our clients might say, "Well, Mark, I make $200,000, or I have $200,000 in earnings, or $250,000 in earnings, or more than that." No, you're not going to get that benefit. But whether you believe it or not, you're probably in the top 10% of income earners. 90% of the population will benefit from this.
Absolutely.
And so we have to kind of step back and be rational during these emotional times.
Absolutely.
And look, like I said,
keep your perspective.
Yeah, the president will make statements. And it's funny, how many people actually watch the president do a press conference?
Not me.
I don't. I actually sometimes do. I will admit that sometimes I turn on when I see he's going to do a press conference, and I'll sit there for the 2 hours and watch and listen. And when you watch it in its entirety, you realize it's nowhere near as bad as the sound bites that come from it to give you a perspective of here's what he said in 30 seconds. And we have to put that into perspective. But most of us don't want to listen to the whole sound bite. I guess... In fact, I guess what he said at Davos this week, if you watch his entire speech, I just watched parts of it, he did this without a teleprompter, and granted, I wish he would use a teleprompter because he does ramble a lot. But he talked about the accomplishments that he and his team have created for America, how America is positioned today, why it makes sense to do the things that he wants to do. And he sounded relatively intelligent. But if you just take pieces and snapshots of what he said,
Out
he
of
sounds
context.
like a fool. And that's what they're going for in the media.
Absolutely, no question. And anything taken out of context, think about some of the things you might say. In context, it makes perfect sense. But if somebody lifted that out of the context, it could make no sense whatsoever.
Right. I mean,
in any event.
and that's what happens when we get interviewed.
Absolutely.
When we get interviewed for a show or anybody.
You never know what line
look,
they pick up.
How many times have you ever been interviewed by a reporter on the news and you say, oh my God, I'm going to be on Channel 4 News. And everybody goes to watch to see because you talk to them for like 15, 20 minutes and you get about a 5-second soundbite. And how do they pick what you said from the whole context of everything you shared? 5 seconds.
Whatever's most,
I don't know.
Ear-catching.
That's exactly right. Whatever it is, whatever that soundbite is that they're looking for.
Absolutely.
So let's put everything into perspective. Let's be rational during these somewhat emotional, irrational, erratic times that we're in. Our outlook for the future is extraordinarily positive.
Absolutely.
There will always be bumps in the road. There will be bumps in the road this year. I'm sure of it. Where they'll come from, how it'll happen, do you know?
No, but I know we are a very resilient nation. We have been through a lot, and we will survive. I'm positive
we
of
will
that.
thrive. We're going to do better
Absolutely.
than survive. We're going to thrive.
Absolutely.
And if now's the time for you to get serious about your financial planning and investment management needs, we're ready to talk to you. Our doors are open. We want to meet with you for an initial consultation. We want to show you what financial planning is all about. We want to help you put together your entire financial life so you can feel secure about what your financial future might look like. Our office number, 978-531-8108. That's 978-531-8108. Or visit us on that thing called the World Wide Web, www.freedmanfinancial.com. That's Freedman.
2 E's and a D.
Financial.com, and you can go to the bottom of any page on our website. Put in your name, your email address, and you'll get our free weekly newsletter. Lands in your inbox every Friday, 10:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And you'll get little tidbits of financial advice in a language you can understand. That'll do it for us this week. Hope you have a wonderful week again. And anything you want to add?
Enjoy.
Thanks, Marion. Thanks for being here. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
During today's episode of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial, your host may have discussed